area in Birmingham, Alabama. It happened in the 5 Points South area. Police say officers arrived at the scene and discovered 2 men and a woman dead. A fourth victim died at a hospital. Up to 21 were wounded. The police are not saying anything more at the time. 5 Points South has numerous entertainment venues, restaurants, and bars, and is often crowded on Saturday nights. This is SRN News.
America stands at a crossroads. The 2024 presidential election could change the course of our nation forever. Will you stand up and fight for our democracy? Join the Battleground Talkers Tour on Saturday, October 26th at the Hyatt Regency Sarasota. Hear from conservative powerhouses Mike Gallagher, Dr. Sebastian Gorka, and Larry Elder as they rally our base for the most important election of our lives. VIP reception at 5:30 p.m. Main event at 7. This is the Battleground Talkers Tour. Get tickets now at theanswertampa.com.
Helping you get where you're trying to go. Get digital media solutions for your business. Visit surroundtampa.com. Surroundtampa.com.
For today, mostly sunny skies, potential tropical impacts later in the week. Check with AccuWeather often, high 92. Tonight, clear skies, low 75. Tomorrow, partly sunny with a couple of showers in the afternoon with a high of 92. Tomorrow night, clear, low 76. Get your weather news when and how you want it wherever you are. Download our free app or visit AccuWeather.com. That's your AccuWeather forecast. I'm Caitlin Lawrence for AM 860, The Answer.
Cards on the table like buried on the outcome that we blink for a second. And when we open our eyes, we keep cards.
Welcome back, listeners. The song that you heard is a song written by my daughter, Annie Ellie, called 52 Card Pickup. And you can find her on SoundCloud, Annie Ellie, ANNIE ELIE at SoundCloud. She has been singing and traveling in Portugal and also in Hawaii. So trying to help her promote her music. She's quite a prolific songwriter. I ran into the new teacher at the Fine Arts at Greenville, South Carolina, where Annie was the lead jazz singer there for 4 years. And they wanted her to come back on an alumni thing. So it's really kind of interesting. So folks, we are talking about the possibility of protecting your accounts. Patty, you were elaborating on the clients we've been able to help. Part of our prosperity plan is step number 1 is our safe money plan, which I believe is a foundation. It's taking money and creating a foundation, typically with your 401k, with your IRA. Patty, we've had conversations with people that will say, well, I want to keep some money in the market, and that's fine. But we typically operate by the rule of 100. Geez, you take 100 and subtract your age, that shows you how much risk that you should have. So I'm 64. So according to the rule of 100, I shouldn't have more than 36% in the market. Guess what? I am following that rule. All right. I'm even hedged in the way I'm doing the market. So isn't it interesting that many people that come to see us, they are flipped around, they're upside down?
Not some are flipped around, upside down, and some are 100% in the market still.
100% in the market.
And it's amazing to me.
And Patty, this is why I think when this market corrects, there's going to be people that are going to get devastated because they have not planned.
Right.
It's like the scripture that says you build your house on sand. When the storm comes, it gets washed away.
Absolutely.
But if you build it on a rock, on a firm foundation, it won't.
Exactly.
So that doesn't mean you go broke safely. We don't believe in that at all. You had people getting a guaranteed 1% return just 5 years ago on CDs. We had a client that came to see us with $1 million in CDs, earning 1 or 2%. And they said to me, well, Greg, my late husband, that's what he did. So I just continued the same thing.
And it was amazing. They were earning right below or a little bit above the 2%. Yet remember how much their fee was?
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
It was astronomical, but we were still able to get them out, make them more than whole.
Right.
And do good for them. But so that is another thing to point out. Just because you have money that is locked up that you think you cannot afford to get out, talk to us. You may not be able to you may not afford to not get out.
Well, yeah, it might cost you a lot more if you stay in.
Exactly.
Especially with some of these accounts that people have already triggered income from. So, we can give them a better return in many cases right now. folks, again, I'm casting a sense of urgency. We have 2 weeks before the rates. Well, no, we don't. We have 10 days before the rates drop. 10 days. If you want to take advantage of these higher rates, give us a call, 1-800-440-0434, or go to mymoneyissafe.com. That's mymoneyissafe.com.
And another thing, not to be fooled by or put into a sense of safety, is that say your income is working for you now. Do you think that the financial situation is going to stay the same? Meaning, do you think inflation is going to stay the same? Do you think taxes are going to stay the same? Do you have a hedge for inflation and a hedge for taxes? Do you think a part of, say, one of those legs or one of those portions of your income is Social Security? Do you think that is going to either stay the same or be there forever? So, consider these things. I mean, don't just sit there and think, oh, I'm fine. My question to you is, are you really? How deep have you looked into that? How deep has your advisor looked into that, or have they looked into that?
Patty, I think that the majority of the advisors out there, even in our business, one of the concerns people ask me about, and I have concerns about, is about the digital dollar. How does that impact us? What do we do? I'm doing some deep dives and saying, okay, do you know when I was listening to the European Union person, they were talking about their digital initiative. So we get rid of free speech, we get rid of Second Amendment rights, and basically Big Brother controls everything at that point.
Right. And I heard where they're trying to get rid of to where America is not a zone of its own.
Right.
That we become part of Europe.
It would be the North American zone, part of the New World Order.
Exactly.
I mean, isn't it interesting that when George H.W. Bush spoke about a New World Order, how things have proliferated in a steep incline to get us to this? It was almost like a declaration. Okay, no holds bars. We're going into this system. And I think that's why Donald Trump's had such pushback, is I think he was an anomaly in the path, because Hillary was supposed to win in 2016.
Oh, yes, that was one.
And if she would have won, where would we be now?
Oh,
I was listening to her talking about how people should be arrested and possibly criminally arrested.
for what?
Misinformation. Do you understand? The narrative is being pushed around everywhere, but it's uncanny. You look at 4 media sources that are, I would say, to the left of right, and they're all saying the same thing. The timing is the same thing. So it's like these movies that come out. I was on the airplane flying to Phoenix, or from Phoenix, and I watched the movie Civil War, which is basically trying to get us geared up for a civil war.
Absolutely.
And it was the East versus the West this time.
Isn't that interesting?
And Patty, it wasn't a great movie. What's her name that played in Spartanburg that played in Spider-Man and the cheerleading movie? She's blonde hair. She's aged quite a bit. I can't think of her name right now. I'll think of it. But anyway,
Marissa Tomei?
not Marissa Tomei. No, she's blonde. And
Oh, this girl's blonde.
and if she's the one that kissed Spider-Man.
Yes, I
But
can't.
but anyway,
Yeah.
she was in the movie. It wasn't a great movie, and it really, basically the president was lying. They were trying to get to the president, and you couldn't really even tell who the good guys were. That's the thing that was weird. It didn't really identify clearly who the good
Emma
guys were.
Stone?
No.
Kristen Dunst.
Kristen Dunst. That's it. Kristen Dunst. And I think she should wear a dunce cap for being in that movie. I'm sorry, that wasn't very good. Not very nice. Sorry, Kristen. I don't know you, but not. I enjoyed you more on Pitch Perfect. But
Yeah.
anyway, it's like we are being told ahead of time what's going on.
It is like you see it playing out, and is it the electric? That electric truck that looks like it's from,
You talking about the Tesla truck?
yes.
Yeah, I don't like it.
It looks like it's from like Conan or what was that movie?
Mad Max.
Thunderdome and Mad Max.
Thunderdome.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, I have a Tesla, but I looked at that Tesla Cybertruck and I'm like, there's nothing I like about it.
No, you would hate it because I can't imagine. It doesn't feel like there's any light that would get in it.
No, there isn't. I mean, you've got a little light in the front, but I think the back is electronic and it's weird.
It is very weird.
I mean,
The first time I saw one, I thought Thunderdome. I was like, oh, this is
yeah, not his best work. I like my Tesla. You know, the company owns it and my son's driving it right now, but I like my Lexus.
Mhm.
My Lexus drives amazing and it's a
Lexus are
hybrid.
great cars.
Well, it's a hybrid, so it shifts between electric and gas. So I like that. That means I'm not dependent on the
I was going to say
internet.
they can't cut you down.
They
They
can't
cannot
cut
cut
me
you
off.
off.
That was one thing I asked the salesperson, can they cut me off? Can anybody externally cut me off? No. Guess what? With a Tesla, they can.
Oh, yes, they can.
Fully electric, they can. And
Not only can they did, didn't
well,
they?
and who is they anyway, right?
Exactly.
I'll let you define who they is. That's good English. Who they is. Folks, listen, I cannot reiterate how important it is to take advantage of some of these opportunities that we have right now. Okay. I sound like a broken record because I've been talking about it, but we have moved millions and millions of dollars for folks that are so thrilled that we've been able to do that for them. Let me give you a scenario. Let's say you got $1 million in your 401k. You made $200,000 last year. You're thrilled. Okay. And you don't do anything about it. Market takes a hit, your millions down to 600,000, and now you're down 200,000 from the 200 that you made. Wouldn't it make sense to take some of that $1 million, do the in-service rollover, get guarantees, add money to the account, and protect your money? That's all I'm saying. That's how we can help you. And we can set you up an income that you have that income plan, folks. That you have that income plan. And 8% guaranteed for income with a high payout is huge. It's huge. And I know we're doing the right job for our clients. So folks, you know, we've got 10 seconds left. So you can reach us at 1-800-440-0434 or go to mymoneyissafe.com. You can go to mymoneyissafe.com. You can also go to Prosperity Group Omni, OMNY, and listen to previous shows. Be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, do you have a retirement account? Are you concerned about the volatility in the market? Don't get caught off guard by being just complacent because you've seen the market go up. We might have a boost coming very quickly because of the drop of interest rates. I don't know how long it will go. Folks, you can get guaranteed rates. You can add even close to 40% to your account. You want to learn how, call us at 800-440-0434. Go to mymoneyissafe.com.
Life takes a toll on our bodies. No way around it. Whether it's sitting hours on end at your computer or working a physical job, over time your body pays the price. There is, however, an effective way to turn back the clock on pain, Relief Factor. Developed by doctors, Relief Factor helps support your body's response to inflammation. The difference? Instead of masking pain, Relief Factor helps eliminate it for good. And it's 100% drug-free. If the pains that come with living a full life are affecting you, do as so many others have. Turn back the clock on pain with Relief Factor. Their 3-week quick start is just $19.95, less than $1 a day. When you feel good, it's amazing how much more you get out of life. So visit relieffactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF. That's 1-800-4RELIEF. Try it for only $19.95. While we can't stop aging, not yet, we can stop pain. Turn back the clock with Relief Factor.
Yeah, when my eyes fail to see.
Well, Patty, we're back. We've got one more segment. We've got an election coming soon. You know, our show is going to be airing in a couple of days. Obviously, we pre-recorded. we've been talking about these opportunities that people can take. Do you want to start by just sharing some of the opportunities you're aware of that we can offer people right now that they can take advantage of? Because I think they need to do it quickly. And by the way, for our Sarasota listeners, I'm going to be down there in a week.
Week after, yes.
So we will meet with you. We can get it done for you, but there's a short window here.
Right. The one that you've discussed, and the reason that he does keep pointing it out so much is because one thing is that it is going away. That's not a gimmick. That is the honest, the goodness truth. And it has been able to help clients when no other plan that we've had has been able to help our clients.
Right.
So it is that good. It has been able to take clients. I mean, one example was yesterday, a client of ours that has almost her entire portfolio geared towards income.
Right.
And she said, "Oh my gosh, Patty, this is really good. I can do this." She said, but then she always pulls back because she tears everything apart. She was an engineer, thank you.
Mhm.
And so she tears it apart to pieces. And so she goes through, but if I do this and that, et cetera, then she said, "But what about those other accounts I have?" And I said, "It's going to outperform it."
Yeah, absolutely.
And she said, "Oh my gosh, so wait a minute." So she is able to keep her income projection that she wanted. She wanted to retire with 100,000 a year.
Right. I remember.
And so she's doing that. With this, it puts her over that. And
Wow.
so I know. And she's like, "So what do I do now?" I said, "Now you can use that money for something else if you want to."
Right.
What if you want to use it for accumulation? What if, because she loves, the legacy, and she has a legacy plan.
Right. Right.
I said, "What if you want to take extra trips?" I said, just because you had that in place doesn't mean you can't make it better, which she has.
Wow.
I know.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, I knew we'd be able to help her.
I
So
know.
This is great.
I know. That is one example. Another example is a client of yours that did not want to retire until he had 30,000. What? Not 30, but till his income was going to give him the 300. And this put him over and above that. So now he can retire. He's going to be able to retire because he was like, I think I need, by my calculations, I need to work 2.5, maybe 3 more years. And I really think I can do that. Well, we put him to this account, and guess what? He said, "You mean I can walk in there and if I get mad tomorrow, I can leave?" I said, "Yes." He said, "I can't believe that." He's like, you just made my day."
Patty, there's so many people that we've had the conversation with where they're burned out. They're burned out on their job.
What I find is hilarious. Greg will meet with these people, guys. It's funny. So we sit down with the first meeting and they don't know, they know what they have, but they don't know what that will give them.
Right. Right.
And they're like, "Well, I'm planning." There's one person in particular comes to mind. I'm planning on working another 5 years. And so, okay, got that. And so then we put together the income plan, et cetera. And he comes back the next meeting and it's like, "Well, I think next year might be nice." Because they see what we can do.
Right.
And they are able to let go. You put up with what you have to put up with when you know you have to do it.
Right. Right.
But this man will not have to do that for as long as he thought he would. And Greg, you're meeting with some people tomorrow.
Right.
The same thing that we think that we're gonna be able to put something together for them that will give them what they want above and beyond.
Yeah.
And they'll be able to enjoy life like they've not been able to enjoy because they were working.
Well, this is an opportunity that can really help people.
It can really help people. There's that plan. The other one you said, talk about the different ones that we have. The one that we have that will give you 40%.
40%. That's huge.
That is huge. Now, don't be fooled. The one that gives you the 8% guaranteed till you turn it on, you can start income next year if that
Correct.
gives you. All right. Now, the other account that gives you 40%, you can take penalty-free withdrawals from it. Yes, after
Right.
year 1. But for the true lifetime income, that is a 10-year wait.
Right. And here's the other factor, no fees.
No fees. There are no fees.
Right.
And they have, this company has a phenomenal allocation system that allows you to do rate locks, which the other annuities do not allow you to do in this fashion. There are companies out there that have a rate lock, but not like this.
Patty, we like to bring diversity to our clients' portfolios and we can do these type of things.
Because we're not cookie cutter.
Right. Right. I mean, in talking to the client yesterday, they were so thrilled at the extra income. They said, look, we trust your advice. This is what we want to do. And they don't have any heirs. So
Wow.
they don't have any children. So they are maxing out the income.
And that's
The
what they
fact that
should do.
That's $30,000. I think I talked about it earlier, $30,000 a year more. Folks, how many of you could use an extra $30,000 a year for yourself? Or let's say you're currently like the clients we met with a couple of weeks ago. They're getting $20,000 a year of income. We've improved them to $30,000 a
Right.
year of income.
And I want to say to listeners out there, do not feel bad if your accounts are not to where you can leave a huge legacy.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
One of the best legacies you can give your children is being able to take care of yourself and to teach them how to do that.
That's right.
That is a great legacy. And a lot of people out there that do have that are the salt of the earth, and they own their home outright. Okay. That is a legacy in itself that you leave your children.
Absolutely.
And a lot of people forget that.
They do.
We had the clients that came in that we're working with. One, he said, what is his goal? And he said, legacy. So you looked at it and you're like, Patty, these people need more income.
Right.
And he felt that way because he was shamed by another advisor saying that you should have created your portfolio so that you had legacy. Well, you know what? I think that other person said that just because that's not what the other advisor did.
Right. Well, and not only that, Patty, our role is not to criticize.
Not to
Our role
criticize
is
at
to
all.
find solutions.
Absolutely.
And so somebody makes a mistake, they don't need to be shamed into it.
Not at all. And is it truly a mistake or is it just a different way to do something? So
Well, we talked about this the other day, and it's going to be one of our commercials, but I had it's in my book.
Mhm.
So folks, you want a copy of my book, Prosperity Plan ABCs. I talk about a client in North Carolina that said to me, my advisor talks down to me. He used to deal with my husband. She's a widow now.
there?
And she goes, I just can't believe how rude he is and everything. And I said, look, if you don't like the advisor, well, I don't know what else to do. So we were initially moving $100,000. Now I thought she might be overreacting. So, and the way I met her, I literally finished doing a seminar. I walk off the stage and she comes up to me, Greg, look at this, look at this, look at this. Here's my statements. Look how much money I've lost. This was 2003.
wow.
And look how much money okay. So initially we started, we're gonna move 100,000. She had about a $500,000 portfolio. So this guy is making it harder to move the money when he, by law, should have moved it had it moved in 3 days. So the market was very volatile then, right after 9/11, 2003. And so she lost $6,000 while he was fiddling around. So I got him on the phone and I said to him, I said, look, you got to move her money. Well, she's making a mistake. I said, well, that's your opinion. It's her money. She wants to move it. And he's giving me a hard time.
Mm.
And I'm staying pretty level-headed. I usually am. And she says, Greg, wait. I go, okay, what is it? She goes, tell him to move all of it. I said, what? She goes, yeah, I'm done with him. Move all of it. And I said, by the way, let's just go ahead and move the other $300,000. Oh, he was livid.
I'm sure he was loving.
And if we can't get this done in a timely manner, I need to know who your supervisor is. It got done.
And wasn't it shortly thereafter something happened to the market?
No, the market had taken the hit,
Mhm.
but it wasn't, but here's what did happen.
There
to
was
her.
something.
2 years later,
Oh, yes.
she needed to go into a nursing
Right.
situation.
Yes, that was it.
And so we were able to save all her principal. She had enough income from these accounts. She never touched her principal.
That was it.
When she passed,
Mhm.
because she did pass, her kids were shocked that there was that much money in the account because she lived modestly. And she's the one I told you about that had $75,000 hidden under her bed.
Yes.
She was a depression baby, you know?
Right.
And you run into that. And the point is, it was wonderful that she was able to leave a legacy to her family.
God bless her.
That was the moral of that story.
Right.
And she was able to maintain her quality of life.
And we love what we do. We love working with people. We love making their lives more than what they dreamt of.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so these, like Greg said, these opportunities are not going to be around
That's right.
much longer.
That's right. So we need to take advantage of these folks. Listen, we're almost out of time this segment. I really appreciate you all tuning in. I want to remind our listeners, Prosperity Plan ABCs, that's the name of my book. If you would like a copy, there's no cost to you. Just call up our office. We'll get you a copy right away. If you want.
Is that the fine print behind the show there, Doc? Is that the fine print?
That's it, buddy boy. You better read it.
Okay, you got anything I got to sign?
Of course. You can't get out without a signature.
All right. Hey, I'm coming in this week. Tuesday, I'll be there for that carotid thing, scanner, sonar, whatever it is.
Okay. That's a good thing because, you're at high risk.
Yeah, I don't want to stroke out yet.
Yeah, I don't want you to die. I need you.
I just don't want to sit at home all day going.
Well, it'll make for an interesting radio show.
No, I think the career would be over at that point, Doc. Thanks anyway.
We'll bring you in on Sundays in your wheelchair and prop you up.
No, just I'd probably just turn the car on in the garage and listen to some Beatles for a while.
Mm-hmm. We'll leave the motor running and the garage door down.
That is my intention, yes.
So what's new? Anything? You doing good?
Nothing too much with me. I got a hurricane coming, but the roofers, I still got a hole in my roof, and the roofers can't get there till Friday. Of course, hurricane's coming on Thursday.
Wow.
So lots of buckets, I guess.
We had a big time in New Orleans.
Get anything weird happen?
Well, they had that storm. What was it? Forget the name. Francine, I think is her name. And
not familiar with it.
It landed as a Category 1 in Louisiana, but we got some of the wind and rain, but it blew mostly west of town. So I think it hit Baton Rouge.
Okay, I missed that one. I thought that one went into Texas, or was that Burl that went into Texas?
It was Burl that went into Texas.
Well, let's hope this one goes into Louisiana or something. I don't need a hurricane coming right into Tampa.
You don't want a hurricane?
Not this week. Next week, be fine.
Next week?
Yeah, I'll have a roof then, so you can have it next week.
Oh, you don't have a roof yet?
No, I can't find. It took me 4 weeks just to find somebody to come out and fix it because it's not a big problem. It's a small problem. They all want to put in a new roof and make $60,000, and they'll tell you how to cheat your insurance company to do it.
Well, you should have called me. I'd come and put some patches on there for you.
Nah, it's a little bit more than that. This guy, we had to pull out the deck. We had a leak that's been soaking through for years, apparently, and just broke when the last tropical storm came by.
Well, I'm sorry to hear you're having problems.
Well, I mean, it's hasn't blown off. I got a tarp on it, and that's helping some, but I'm sure the tarp is going to blow away if we get a hurricane.
Yep.
So that's my problem. That's what I'm dealing with these days. But I'm still alive, so that's good.
That's a good thing. That's a good thing.
All right, we got to get you some money, man.
I know. I have to figure out something eventually.
Okay, we're coming up here on the top of the hour, and we'll catch you after the weather, sir.
All right, buddy.
Your best clothes. And if you call in the next 10 minutes, you're also going to receive an extra free supply with your order today. You can keep that for yourself, share it with a family member or a friend. But folks, this is a really great offer. So that number to call is 1-800-467-9709.
WGUL and W229DJ Dunedin. Powered by Prosperity Group. Come grow with us and reach your retirement goals.
Tampa Flooring Gallery, there's only one style that really matters. Yours. For a limited time, take $500 off all flooring, commercial and residential, including kitchen, bath, and outdoor kitchen remodels. TampaFlooringGallery.com.
With SRN News, I'm Michael Harrington in Washington. A powerful labor union's decision not to endorse a presidential candidate is a blow to Vice President Harris. White House correspondent Greg Clugston has more.
The International Brotherhood of Teamsters announced recently that neither Donald Trump nor Kamala Harris has sufficient support from the 1.3 million member union. The Teamsters have typically thrown their support behind Democratic nominees, but there's division in the ranks during this 2024 campaign. Even though the vice president has courted organized labor, the Teamsters said internal polling of its members showed Trump with an advantage over Harris. Greg Clugston, the White House.
More than 100 rockets have been launched by the terrorist group Hezbollah into Israel late last night and this morning. Some of those rockets landed near the city of Haifa. The sides appear to be spiraling toward all-out war following months of escalating tensions. The Secret Service next challenge, protecting the United Nations General Assembly.
A state-of-the-art security post dubbed the Brain Center hums with activity. The U.S. Secret Service's Patrick Freeney says they're ready to protect more than 140 world leaders.
This is the largest annual gathering of global leaders on the planet.
UN Inspector Melinda McCormick says they have an extensive system to keep leaders safe.
We screened during the high-level period up to 22,000 delegate staff and non-UN entities per day.
And the NYPD says there are no credible threats at this point. Julie Walker, New York.
Russian strikes have hit high-rise apartment blocks in Ukraine's city of Kharkiv, leaving dozens of people wounded in a second consecutive nighttime attack. The local governor says 9 residential buildings sustained varying degrees of damage, including 16 and 9-story blocks. This is SRN News.
This is Dennis Prager, and now a truly exciting new benefit. My monthly online video get-together for Pragertopia Plus members only. For an hour each month, get an exclusive chance to ask me anything. I'll be answering your questions. I've never done this. Submit your questions for me at Pragertopia.com. This is our chance to connect like never before. Go to Pragertopia.com or click the banner at DennisPrager.com.
America stands at a crossroads. The 2024 presidential election could change the course of our nation forever. Join the Battleground Talkers Tour on Saturday, October 26th at the Hyatt Regency Sarasota. Hear from conservative powerhouses Mike Gallagher, Dr. Sebastian Gorka, and Larry Elder as they rally our base for the most important election of our lives. VIP reception at 5:30 p.m. Main event at 7. Don't miss your chance to be a part of history. Visit theanswertampa.com and get your tickets today.
At Simple Path Retirement, we are not bankers or broker dealers. We are registered independent advisors who have the ability to focus on your best interest. Visit simplepathretirement.com.
Just when you thought your smartphone couldn't get any smarter, now you can add the AM860 app. With local news, national headlines, and commentary. The answer is smart. Adding the AM860 app to your smartphone is genius. Get it now at the Apple App Store and Google Play.
For today, mostly sunny skies, potential tropical impacts later in the week. Check with AccuWeather often, high 92. Tonight, clear skies, low 75. Tomorrow, partly sunny with a couple showers in the afternoon with a high of 92. Tomorrow night, clear, low 76. Get your weather news when and how you want it wherever you are. Download our free app or visit AccuWeather.com. That's your AccuWeather forecast. I'm Caitlin Lawrence for AM 860, The Answer.
The following program is sponsored by Bay Area Medical Can Care Clinic.
Go, Doc.
Good morning, everybody. This is Dr. Bill, your radio MD. Welcome to the show. I got Ken by my side, and we're doing
Morning, Doctor.
We're praying that Ken won't have a stroke. But if he does, we're going to just put him in his wheelchair and roll him in every Sunday.
That'd be sweet of you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, we'll give you a drool cup.
I was going to say, don't forget my drool cup. That's right.
Don't forget that. Okay, so I had an interesting situation at the hospital. We were in New Orleans, not this week, but a week before, and one of my patients who I had to turn over to another one of the doctors because we were going out of town. He is a real PIA, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And he refused to go to rehab, and he has a broken femur and it pinned, and he's overweight and he's inert, and he can't stand on his own. He's been in a wheelchair for a couple of years now, and he said he's not going home. So we couldn't get him to go to rehab.
What's he going to do? Just sit in your office or something? What's he want to?
Well, his wife called me and said she was crying and in tears. She said, "Well, they're forcing us to go home, and I'm not set up at home. I need some home health care, and I need supplies and equipment, and so on and so forth." And I said, "Well, you do have the right to appeal." And she said, "I do." I said, "Yes, you can appeal a discharge from the hospital under Medicare, probably under most insurance plans, but Medicare is a little bit easier since it's already set in place. And the way you do that is you let probably the best place to start is with the case manager, although quality improvement also is the entity that's involved. The case manager, Ken, is the person who follows you. They're usually nurses, and what they do is they see if your discharge is ready, if you're set up to go to health care or go with home health care, or if you don't need anything, or if you need oxygen or supplies or whatever it is you need, they get that ready. And they also will look at your status in the hospital and determine whether or not you're prepared for discharge if you've had enough treatment or whatever. And so you can always talk to your case manager. And then there's also an appeals form that you can fill out, and there should be contact information that you're given when you go into the hospital. You know, all those stupid papers you sign?
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, if you ever stop to read them, you'll see in there that you do have a right to appeal, and there is a mechanism by which you can go by that. And you should receive detailed advice from the hospital on your discharge planning, and the case managers come in and you can say, "Look, I'm not ready to go home." And they can say, "Well, you can go to a nursing home." "Well, I don't have any money. I can't go to a nursing home," or "I'm not going to rehab because I'm somebody super special and important. I want to go to my own home so I can eat pasta and put on weight. I got to bulk up, baby." So
Hey, I know what you do, Doc. Scare the heck out of him. Bring hospice in.
Yeah, bring hospice in. That's what you do.
He got about a week left.
One of the intensive care doctors, he stands at the door with a "do not resuscitate" form. I tell him, "Edgar, you're the best person in the world. If I don't want someone to, I'll bring him to you." So at any rate, you get appeal it, and the quality improvement department quality committee will look it over and decide. And if you don't like that, you can always appeal to a higher level. Medicare has some other levels, but that's basically the format that we follow. But what rights do you have under Medicare? Well, of course, you have the right to respect and to be treated with dignity. God knows why, but they seem to want you to be nice to the patients. And so we try dignity, courtesy, and respect. And remember, under Medicare, you have access to doctors, specialists, hospitals. You can go wherever you want. But now, if you're in a Medicare Advantage plan, which is an HMO, if you go outside of your plan, you're going to have to pay a larger copay.
That
know
makes
what I'm
sense.
saying?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
And so you also have the right to receive information about your health care and in language that you can understand. And you also have the right to receive information about Medicare.
Now, does he not want to go home, or is it just the wife who doesn't want him home?
She wasn't ready to. He wants to go home.
He wants to go
want to
home.
go anywhere else. He got psychotic in the hospital on medication, and he was swinging at the nurses and cussing everybody out, and he wanted me to stay with him, and of course I can't do that.
I know. Well, you're such a nice guy. People just want you around.
Well, I'm too expensive. Kindness cost. So at any rate, he just absolutely, as he got a little bit better and a little bit more lucid, he still absolutely refused. He has done this in the past. He is a very difficult patient, but a good guy. At any rate, so I had.
Well, I didn't know you could appeal something like that. I thought you were just gone when they tell you to get out.
No, you can appeal it, and if you feel that you're being, I'm sure most insurance plans have similar rights for the patients, but you can appeal it. And there are committees in the hospital, and your case manager should help you with that. And of course, a lot of the nurses, they're very sensitive about all that, and they want to see you taken care of fairly. You know, they don't like the hospitals and the doctors, so they'll go out of their way.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, they'll go out of their way to stir it up a little bit.
No, I like staying in the hospital a few more days too. The food is better usually, and they deliver it right to you and put it right in your bed and everything. It's great.
I know you get to lay there. You don't have to clean
TV and
yourself
everything.
up. You got nurses come in and do that. You get all the dope you want. I mean, it's a good
Not
life.
bad. Exactly. I never
3 hots
know.
and a cot. So patients are also protected against unethical practices, and that seems only fair. I mean, you shouldn't have
Well,
to.
yeah, absolutely. Goes both ways, though. You know, they
Yeah.
should treat you with respect too. They shouldn't be swinging at nurses.
Well, one nurse, she had a bumper sticker, and she said, "I clean asses, but I don't kiss them."
Okay. Well,
I said, "I like that." So you have the right to not be treated unethically. You have the right to full knowledge. You can request copies of your information and your chart and anything else and your health plan and all your rights under Medicare. Now, this is really kind of a pain for the hospital, so they'll charge you a little something because the medical records has to copy all that stuff for you. You can even get copies of your studies. So, like if you had a CAT scan and you want the CD of the actual CAT scan to take to your doctor if you're going for a specialty appointment, you can ask for that, Ken.
so if you're moving or something, this can all be transferred electronically, I imagine, if you get a new doctor.
Well, we don't like to do that because a lot of the people that work in hospitals aren't that tech savvy, and in addition, you have pretty big files when you're trying to transfer a CT scan or an MRI or some other more comprehensive study. Because remember, those are moving live, not live, but they're moving films, and they take up a lot more space. Now, I have done that. I have dropped those into an online file folder and then given the link to the doctor in another area. And mostly with the Canadian doctors because it's just such a pain. But the best thing is to get a copy, a CD copy of whatever study you have, whether it's an ultrasound or an echocardiogram or a CAT scan or an MRI or whatever it is. If you can get the CD, then you can give that to your doctor when you go back home to wherever you're going, or if you're going to see a specialist.
I had one of those.
I
had before I left Chicago. I fainted, and they did a thing on my brain, and they said, "Hey, you might want to keep this because we saw something there might be a problem later on in life." And they gave me the CD. I told you about this a long time ago, and
Yeah.
I don't know what happened to the CD. It's gone.
Well, you
lost it in the
probably
move.
filed it with some of your other porno CDs.
No, those are kept separate, Doc. Now, so I don't know what happened to it, but I know they do. They will give it to you if you ask for it. So, but I can see why they wouldn't want to transfer it in an email or something like that.
Now, you also have the right to participate in your plan, and I always ask the patients, "What do you think? What do you want to do?" Most patients will say, "I don't know anything, doc. You're the man here." But some patients, they want to be involved, and they don't want this medicine. They want that medicine, and at this stage, what difference does it make? Hell, they'll come back if it doesn't work anyway. So,
Is that television's influence?
I think it's just overall.
Because how would they know what medicine? It's got to be television.
And the internet and the technical aspects of our culture have increased so much, so dramatically that it's pretty easy to insinuate yourself into a conversation even if you don't really know what you're talking about.
Well, I do it every day. Yeah. My job.
We can see that even in politics. I mean, you listen to a lot of people talk about politics, they have no idea what's going on, but it's their right to express an opinion.
Well, then that's America, free speech.
Well, that's probably a lot of the world too. If they have access to information, they're going to have an opinion.
Yeah.
Whether or not that information is accurate or not, that's another story.
I
And
think it's
that's
always been that way. It's just now we have the internet, so everybody on the block always had an opinion on something, and now just everybody can put it online and tell the world. Usually
Well,
just
the
told the block.
problem with the online news is that you really don't know if you're getting the straight dope. You really have to do a lot of research. So you have to actually go to the websites that have the speeches that the politicians made, or the websites that have the military decisions, and that takes a lot of work, Ken.
It does. Yeah, absolutely. You have to do a lot of research to get deep sometimes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and most people aren't going to do that. They're just
Well, it
going to
takes
say,
time.
"Well, CNN said this," and not trust them.
Right. Exactly. In fact, I was in a conversation just a couple of days ago with a woman who we were talking about the first attempt on President Trump's life, and neither one of us had heard anything about the autopsy. So I had to go. So I'd gone through a lot of stuff, but I finally found the autopsy. I had to go to pretty much a local newspaper with a connection to the coroner's office, and they had everything there.
And the other aspect of it, Ken, is we haven't heard anything about his parents. And almost always, when you have a mass shooter or an assassin, you hear everything about the parents, especially when it's a younger person. Haven't heard one word about that family.
No, I know. It's a
Why-
very strange situation right now. That's why I started looking at it.
And you got to ask yourself, why is the press protecting them, or is this the investigative people in the government saying we don't want anything revealed at this time, so you guys keep your mouth shut?
They are very sensitive about this one for sure. So
And did
might
you
be
see
some
where
of that.
the crazy guy that tried to shoot the president at the golf course?
Right. Yeah.
Apparently, his mother was arrested for taping her mother, grandma, down in a chair for 24 hours.
Okay. Yeah.
So we've got some abusive, crazy people out there. As I've always said, a lot of this is these kids are abused or neglected, or they're a little crazy. I think this guy was crazy. He looked like he was manic depressive.
I don't know. I still have a lot of questions about that, though. I mean,
yeah, but at least
how
got.
How did he know he's going to be at the golf course that day? How did this guy get from Hawaii to Florida to Ukraine back here? Who's funding that?
Yeah, that's the question I ask. Who, where's he getting this money? But I think he had started some kind of a group or a charity or something, and he was getting donations from people for his efforts. And he was it was some kind of semi-political organization that he started. So I don't know.
GoFundMe or something, maybe too. Who knows?
GoFundMe. I want to kill the president.
You'd probably get some contributions,
Yeah, either side.
That's right. You didn't say which one.
Trump or Kamala, who cares?
Just don't commit to which president you're talking about.
And did you see, speaking of the press,
Secret Service is coming to my house tonight. What
the Israelis? The Israelis are they coming to your house?
Well, we're talking about doing away with presidents. Yeah, that'll get you a visit.
Listen, everybody out there, Secret Service, FBI, CIA, go to Ken's house.
No, go to Doc's show. It's not mine. He's the boss.
Yes, but you're opining on the show, so now it's like the chicken and the pig at breakfast. I told you about that, didn't I?
Chicken and the pig. I don't think you did.
Okay, the chicken's involved, but the pig's fully committed. And speaking of the press, did you see where Israel invaded not Hezbollah, but Al Jazeera's office in Jordan and shut it down?
No, I didn't.
Yep,
Really?
They went in there with their military and they kicked everybody out and took over the station. And they seized all the documents and papers because I'm sure Al Jazeera is not friendly to the Israelis, and they'll give the terrorists advance information if they have it.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. At least contacts. A lot of contact information there.
A lot of contact.
Yeah.
And the Israelis are widening the war. Did you see the big beeper blow up?
The beepers and the walkie-talkies
The
Both of them.
walkie-talkies.
Yeah.
The
I was
walkie-
impressed with that one. I was very impressed with that one.
Yeah, and the walkie-talkies apparently were made by a Japanese company, and they said, we're not making any more of those and sending them to Israel to be turned into bombs.
Kind of a PR problem there. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Because, you know, I'm sure the Japanese have no great love for the
Right.
terrorist groups.
So, yeah, that was I'm not sure why they shut them off now, but usually you would do something to confuse your enemy on something like that just to help protect an invasion of some sort. So it might be something bigger coming up.
And of course, the initial release of information from Lebanon was that many innocent people were killed, and now that's all gone away. I haven't heard about anybody being killed other than the Hezbollah terrorist, and Israel said we got more of that. We could do even more.
Yeah, I've always been very impressed with their Secret Service, so to say. Yeah.
And did you see the damage they did in southern Beirut? I mean, they really took out some buildings, and they apparently got several high-ranking Hezbollah leaders.
Yeah, that's what they have to do.
You got to do what you got to do.
Yeah,
and,
you get as close you can to them and take out as few people as you can, but you're going to take out some non-combatants once in a while.
Well, I mean, you know, in war there are no innocents. Somebody had to make these kids and turn them into terrorists.
That's right.
And thugs. I mean, come on. Who has the most influence on our life when we're young?
Well, our parents.
Our mother.
Yeah, well, certainly. Yeah.
And these guys grow up, and they grow up in an atmosphere of hatred and violence and revenge. And where do you think they learn that?
Like everywhere. That's in the schools out there. That's in the churches there. That's everything. Yeah.
Yeah, but it starts very early.
Not true.
One of my friends who went to medical school in Israel, he said he went over into Gaza. They went over to part of the ordeal that you have to do as a medical student is you have to ride in an ambulance and go out on a call. And so they got called over to the Gaza because a woman was having a stroke. And, you know, the Palestinians, they really don't have the healthcare system that the Israelis have. So a lot of the care, the advanced care, is done in Israel, or it was. And so they went over to pick up this woman. And there was a school-age kid there with a notebook, and he opened the notebook up, and it had pictures of Jews looking like rats and swastikas and, you know, kill all Jews and all this. This is a school book that this kid is working in.
That's terrible.
It is.
It's just terrible.
And I don't think
nothing's going to get any better if that's happening, you know, at that age.
No. I mean,
that is the time when they learn all this, and you never let go of it, I don't think.
And that's why I keep saying that you just have to handle it like we did Japan and Germany after World War II. You just go in and you smash the crap out of them, and then you go in and you redefine their culture for them. More so the Japanese than the Germans.
Yeah, it was a complete re-education. Yeah.
Yeah, because, well, the Germans, you know, probably 25% of our population has German blood in it. So we've got a lot of close ties with Germany. And if you ever go to Europe and you see American kids at a distance walking and then German kids at a distance walking, you cannot tell the difference. Now, you can tell the difference with Italian or French or almost any other ethnic group in Europe. But I swear to God, I was amazed to see how close we are to the Germans and the way we walk, the way our speech patterns are. You know, if you listen to German from a distance, it's got the same intonations and the same up and downs as English does. English, of course, is Low German, but it's pretty interesting. So we do have a lot of German blood and a lot of German influence in our culture.
Well, I'm half German myself, so I'd probably fit right in.
Well, is it the left or the right? Which half?
I think it's the left. Weren't they left? The socialists?
Now they're going left. They were right.
Actually, they're going right now, I think, aren't they? I don't know where Germany is right now.
Well, hey, you know who's going right? the French got a new government. You know, we
Yes.
talked about this a few weeks ago,
Mhm.
how Macron was losing support. And so they were able to form a government, and they got a right-wing prime minister now, and all of the cabinet members are right-wing, and it should be interesting to see. They're anti-immigration.
The whole EU is getting anti-immigration finally. The people have had it, I think. So.
Well, yeah. I mean, you know, what are you going to do? You can't take care of everybody, for God's sakes. And you know, you bring these people in, and some of them are just downright nasty. They don't care what you do for them. They're gonna come get you no matter what.
I heard a story late last week of somebody was complaining about Germany. They started again taking passports at the border. Why'd they stop? Was my question. What? Just,
Well,
just to
you
let
remember
everybody
the
in. Come on in, folks.
Well, you remember the Schengen coalition in Europe? That's most of the European Union countries, and they agreed that you didn't have to show your passport if you were already. So, like, if you get into France and you show your passport, then you can travel anywhere within this union of European countries without showing a passport. Yeah,
Okay, well, maybe that's what it was, but
couple of countries opted out. I think Hungary opted out of that, even though they're part of the European Union. They're part of the economic plan, and of course, Switzerland never joined the EU. But and so they were checking passports. But as I told you before, when we went in, they weren't looking for people trying to sneak into the country. They were looking for Swiss citizens who were going over to France to shop for groceries. And find them because it's so much cheaper in France, and you know, they want that income.
They're looking for smugglers. Food
They're looking
smugglers.
for, yeah, cheese smugglers.
Cheese smugglers. Okay.
So that's a big deal.
Put these big cheese wheels on their cars and try to drive in.
Oh my God.
All right. Hey, it's
So
getting
did you
close
hear
to the
about-
bottom of the hour. You want to do a question here?
Well, sure, we can do a question. What do you have in mind?
Well, it's always about something that we've talked about in the first half of the show because you know these are not cheap
You know
prices.
why, Ken?
Hmm.
Because the second half of the show hadn't been performed yet.
Well, that's part of it. That's right.
That's
exactly.
right.
But I could go back to last week if I wanted to.
That's true, but then nobody
gotta keep
would
it fair.
answer because nobody can
Well,
remember that long.
That's right, exactly. All right. So today's question. And then, by the way, Doc. So, but if you're not watching, you can watch Doc on Facebook. By the way, Dr. Bill, your MD, your radio MD. Look that up on Facebook. It'll take you right there, and you'll see one of the mugs. Doc's holding up right now. You get 2 of these mugs if you're the first person with the correct answer to the following question. Something we talked about around 15, 20 minutes ago. Something I didn't know. If you want to stay in a hospital and they're trying to kick you out, can you appeal? Yes or no? Simple answer. Yes or no. Can you appeal if you're in a hospital and you don't want to leave because the food is real good or something? You just want to stay there.
They're serving steak tonight.
See, you never know. That's great. So, first person
right.
with the correct answer, just a yes or no. 877-969-8600, the number to call. Remember, if you won in the last 30 days, you are not eligible. 877-969-8600. That's 877-969-8600. First person with the correct call, with the correct answer, rather, wins here. And that, Dr. Bill, your Radio MD coffee mug. Get back 2 of them. Ain't that right, Doc?
You got it, buddy boy. And we're here for you.
All right. Some music and then some news. We'll be back.
Experience the best selection of cigars and accessories in the country. Corona Cigar is located at 4142 West Boy Scout Boulevard across from International Plaza, or visit coronacigar.com.
With SRN News, I'm Michael Harrington in Washington. Hezbollah has launched more than 100 rockets across a wider, deeper area of northern Israel this weekend. Some of those rockets landed near the city of Haifa. The two sides appear to be spiraling toward all-out war following months of escalating tensions. The rocket barrage overnight and into this morning set off air raid sirens, set thousands of people scrambling into shelters. Police say 4 people have died. More than 20 have been wounded following a shooting at a nightlife area in Birmingham, Alabama. It happened in the 5 Points South area. Police say officers arrived at the scene and discovered 2 men and a woman dead. A 4th victim died at a hospital. Up to 21 were wounded. The police are not saying anything more at the time. 5 Points South has numerous entertainment venues, restaurants, and bars, and is often crowded on Saturday nights. This is SRN News.
Dr. Bill for Bay Area Medical, located at 6399 38th Avenue North in St. Pete, 727-384-6411, 727-384-6411. Full service clinic with x-ray, heart imaging, ultrasound, stress testing, and minor surgery. We provide quality health care in a warm and friendly atmosphere. We are multilingual, well-trained, and certified. Most American insurance and new patients accepted. Bay Area Medical, home of Can Care, 727-384-6411. 727-384-6411. Dr. Bill here. With social distancing and sheltering in place, telemedicine is here. Bay Area Medical Home of Can Care Clinic offers telemedicine for new and established patients. You can see me without an in-office visit. Schedule an appointment at 727-384-6411, 727-384-6411. When it's time for your appointment, type this web address into your cell phone or computer web browser, doxy.me/Bay Area Med. A cell phone works well and is all you really need. For computers, you need a web camera and speakers. We'll give you this address when you call for your appointment. We accept most insurances and travel insurances. Canadians and visitors, please call your travel insurance company for an authorization number prior to the visit. Copays and deductibles apply. Self-pay rates are available. Just ask. We accept credit cards, PayPal, and Stripe. 727-384-6411, 727-384-6411. Dr. Bill here. My friends at St. Pete MRI and Sleep Diagnostics are your best choice for state-of-the-art MRI, CT, and sleep studies. Quality unsurpassed. 25 years experience makes St. Pete MRI my go-to imaging center. Self-pay rates are competitive and out-of-pocket cost a fraction of a hospital. Conveniently accessible from both sides of the bay at 750 94th Avenue North, St. Pete, near the Gandhi. 727-577-2220, 727-577-2220.
At Simple Path Retirement, we can offer many of the resources of the large firms, but with the personal attention of a boutique firm. Visit simplepathretirement.com.
For today, mostly sunny skies, potential tropical impacts later in the week. Check with AccuWeather often, high 92. Tonight, clear skies, low 75. Tomorrow, partly sunny with a couple showers in the afternoon with a high of 92. Tomorrow night, clear, low 76. Get your weather news when and how you want it wherever you are. Download our free app or visit AccuWeather.com. That's your AccuWeather forecast. I'm Caitlin Lawrence for AM 860, The Answer.
And go, Doc.
And we're back. This is Dr. Bill. I got Ken by my side, and we're in the second half of the show. Did we have a winner?
We do not.
Dang.
It's a technical failure.
What happened?
I couldn't talk to anybody.
Oh my God!
I got to reboot the phone system here.
Oh no!
People were calling. I was saying hello. Nobody was hearing me, so I have to reboot the phone system.
Did you push the unmute button?
There is no mute button on.
Oh, okay, good.
At least I don't think so.
You don't think so?
It's got a lot of buttons on it. You know?
You don't do well with buttons.
I don't. I really don't.
No, you don't.
I really should not have gone into radio.
God
anyway, well, I'm sorry about that, folks. We'll try again next week.
So there's this really cool company called 12, TWELVE, out in Washington State, and they're making a hybrid jet fuel to cut down on emissions. And it's pretty neat what they're doing. They're taking carbon dioxide and they're putting it through a catalytic converter and turning it into carbon monoxide and giving off one oxygen. And then on the other side of the equation, they're splitting water into hydrogen and oxygen. And so, you know, carbon monoxide it'll burn. It's not completely combusted yet. And of course, it's toxic. But they combine that with hydrogen that they have captured from splitting water. And so it's a hybrid fuel, and it's a hydrogen and carbon monoxide. Mm-hmm. And it's supposed to cut down on emissions from jets. So they're making this. Ken, they raised over $500 million in startup money.
Wow. Well,
So-
yeah, think of the profits if it works.
Oh yeah, I mean it's going to be tremendous, and I guess there's a couple of airlines that have already signed on to try it, including Alaska Air.
What about the engines that have to be? Do we have to replace the engines, or can the current engines run on that stuff?
I think they can run on it.
Well.
Basically they're running on
Kerosene or something. Whatever it is.
kerosene-like substances, and so it's probably possible to burn any number of fuels in there, other than you couldn't use gasoline because that's too combustible and too hot, burns too hot. So you couldn't use that, but there is that now, and it's pretty fascinating. It's a new technology, and I really like the idea. I think we should be doing this. And I've said this before, that why can't we use some kind of catalytic converters on the effluent coming out of the fossil fuel electrical plants and convert this stuff back into oxygen and carbon instead of releasing carbon dioxide and water into the atmosphere and increasing our greenhouse gas.
Money, Doc. It all takes money. Can be done, I'll bet. Just takes money.
Well, I'm sure it's money, and I'm sure it's also the planning and the impetus, the feel for the need. I saw one of the guys from Duke Energy talking, and they do have long-term plans, Ken. They do, but to build one of those plants, to build one of those electrical plants, that's a big project. That takes a few years.
Oh yeah, and
a lot of money and a lot of time and a lot of planning.
And what's the return really for them?
Yeah. And if you're going to run a fossil fuel plant, you got to figure out how to get pipe gas or oil into it or whatever you're burning, and they won't let you do coal anymore. It used to be a lot easier because you can haul a lot of coal in a railroad car, and that's pretty cheap.
Yeah, just dump it off and shove it into the burners. We used to have the block where I used to live in Chicago. They had little coal chutes. The coal man would arrive, and barrels of coal would go into the house for the winter.
Yeah, that's right, and it would feed your furnace, and also you could take a chunk and throw it into your fireplace. And before there was central heating, and it burns extremely hot, and so this is what provided heat in the winter for a lot of homes over the eons. The complaint of the romantic poets, and romantic poets wasn't about romance, it was about getting back to nature. It was kind of like the green movement of the early 19th century. And one of their complaints was that there was so much pollution in London because everybody was burning coal.
That's right. It's coming out of everybody's chimney. Yeah.
Yeah, and there was smog and there was coal dust everywhere, and
Go watch Mary Poppins if you want to see an example.
Yeah, and so they all wanted to get back to nature and get away from all this evil pollution.
That's right. Oh well, whole different world back then. You used to have to go down and shovel the coal into the furnace every morning. That's something you don't have to do anymore.
No, you don't have to do that. I've got a guy that does that for me.
You still on coal, are you? Okay.
Hey, remind me to give him something to eat today, Ken.
That would be nice. A little water too. I understand it.
Little water.
Gets hot in there.
He can go out and get some rainwater, for God's sakes.
There's Florida. How much
outside the house?
It's Florida. How much heat do you really need? A little for hot water. That's it.
Oh my gosh. So did you hear there's a big price war going on now between Eli Lilly and Nova over the price of Ozempic and Wegovy, the diabetic drugs that are also being used for weight control.
Oh, that's right. It's like a golden pill people are looking for now, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, it actually does work, but the cost of it, if your insurance plan doesn't pay for it, it's like $1,000 or $1,500 a month.
That's why it might be made of gold. It might as well be.
But now they're bringing it down to as little as $399 a month, and if you want to fly to India, you can probably get it for $10 a month. But it's a long trip, and you better make sure you're getting the genuine item. But it's a big deal, and it does work, Ken. Yeah, I saw two of the senators were going after somebody because they felt it was misleading and that there were potential side effects that people were complaining of about these medications. And so I read this piece in the Wall Street Journal, and one of the few times I actually responded, and I said basically, "Hey, this stuff works. Don't you idiots have more to do than you know?" Well, leave this to the doctors. Keep your nose out of it, and in a nice way, Ken.
Of course.
Not that anybody's going to read it, but at least it's out there.
It made you feel better just to get it out there.
Yeah, it made myself feel better.
There you go. That's all that's important, though.
It's like the song Jamie.
Jamie?
Yeah, whoa, 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 Jamie's crying.
Oh, okay.
She wants to send him a letter because it'll make her feel better.
That's right. Sometimes you just got to get it out somehow.
Well, she knows that there's more than just one night stands, and she's not happy.
Well,
Plus, it was a wealthy rock and roll musician, so that even made it more imperative to reach out and touch him.
I would think so.
So Lily's introduced this plan, and there's a new one called Zepbound that costs as little as $399 a month, and that's in the same family as Ozempic. So there are some drugs coming out that have similar effects, and they're very good drugs.
So how did they work? How did they burn off fat for you?
Well, what it does is there's a glucagon-like protein hormone that is injected into your body, and glucagon actually lowers blood sugar levels. Or actually, I'm sorry, it raises blood sugar levels, and so this is a glucagon-like protein inhibitor. So it cuts down on the glucagon. Insulin lowers your blood sugar because it pushes the sugar into the cells. It acts like a gateway into the cells. And of course, sugar is a gasoline. So I guess you could call it the carburetor that'll let the sugar in. And so that lowers your sugar. And then when you need sugar, glucagon stimulates the liver to release sugar. Well, this medication blocks glucagon, but it also has other effects that we don't fully understand, and it alters your gut hormones and decreases your appetite because it's a big feedback loop with your brain, and it promotes the burning of fat, and it does some other things that are pretty amazing. So we're getting pretty good about this. The technology, the pharmacology has come a long way, and some of my patients have said, well, they've had side effects. It gives them GI upset, stomach upset. That's what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to turn your stomach off. And of course, a lot of people, they don't like that feeling. They want to feel hungry.
Well, I was going to say, it doesn't do any good unless you change your diet, I would think, a little bit.
Well, you and I have had this debate, and I say over and over and over again, it doesn't matter what you eat. It's how much you eat.
It's all portions, right?
You got to cut down on your calories. Now, if you eat 1,000 calories of bacon a day and you go out and exercise and do all the things you're going to do, and you're a guy my size or your size, you're going to lose weight.
Well, I used to eat a whole pizza at a sitting. Now it's just a half the pizza. Save the rest for tomorrow's lunch.
You got to get that under control. And you have to tell yourself that. And the nice thing about these drugs is that they will suppress your appetite so that you can more easily cut down on your portions. And you can lose some weight.
All right. Well, it's still a little pricey, though.
Yeah, it's coming down, though. I think that part of the problem is that we are subsidizing a lot of the world's pharmaceuticals. You can go to third world countries and you can get a lot of this stuff dirt cheap if they carry it. Of course, when you get into some parts of the world, some areas in sub-Saharan Africa, you can't even get insulin unless you're living in a big city and have some cash. But I think that for countries like India and China and Canada, we're subsidizing their health care by paying more for our pharmaceuticals so that they can bargain with the pharmaceutical companies to get a better price on agents like Wegovy and Ozempic.
Well, that doesn't sound right to me, Doc.
Well, then get rid of the Democrats.
Okay, well,
I don't know what to tell you, Ken. I mean, that's just the way it is. We may pay 10 times as much for a medication here as some other parts of the world do.
Is that a law? Is that law here? I mean, why doesn't the Medicare and those guys are starting to negotiate with these companies, but I don't know why they haven't been in the past.
Well, it requires legislation, and of course, the pharmaceutical companies have fought this because they say it's it's a free enterprise country, and that's interfering with free enterprise. And so I think that Medicare, that the federal government, they did pass a law allowing Medicare to negotiate for some medications, and I know the price of insulin has come down because insulin was getting pretty damn expensive, Ken.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Yeah.
And it used to be in the old days, there were state laws that if you went into a pharmacy and said, I'm a diabetic, I need insulin, they had to give it to you. That doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah. Well, money, Doc.
Money, money, money. So it's going to require some statutory changes and a different mindset. Will we need a completely socialized system? I don't think so, but what do I know? I mean, maybe there's no other way around it than to have a socialized medicine system. Problem with that is you're putting too much power in the hands of a few people, and of course you're going to have to ration, as the Canadians do, and they're still upside down on the cost of their health care, and they don't get one half of what we do.
And their taxes are ridiculous.
Their taxes are higher, and they pay more. Of course, we pay indirect taxes with our insurance copays and our insurance premiums and all that. So, and you got to remember, a lot of the world, they don't have the extensive private country clubs and golf courses that we have. They have all public stuff. And of course, we're like, well, we don't want that. And so our taxes for some of the benefits that are expected, like parks and recreation, are probably lower than other parts of the world per capita because we're subsidizing it by having our own private entities that we go to.
True. Yeah. Some of those golf courses are really nice.
Yeah. Yep. But don't go out there when the president's out there because you might get shot. Or the former president.
I'm lucky to get on some of these courses, so yeah.
Yeah, you have to pay a lot. I mean, you can get on Pebble Beach, but there's probably a 2 or 3 year waiting list, and it'll cost you, $1,000 or $2,000.
Yeah, to go play, the Masters. What's the course? Augusta. You have to be invited. I think that's members only.
By a member, yeah, you have to be invited, and then that's quite an honor. And I guess only the elite of the elite get to play there.
Well, I won't be showing up there anytime soon.
Well, I threw my clubs away, so
I'd
rather watch.
I should throw mine away.
Well, no, it's the only way I can get you outside doing something other than smoking cigarettes.
Well, I can smoke while I drive the cart. It works okay.
And you can't get arrested for smoking and driving.
No, not at all. See?
Not yet.
Soon you will. I bet someday you will.
Oh, yeah.
Especially if you have a kid in the car.
Oh, my God. Yeah. I remember the days when my father smoked in the car, and it was miserable.
Well, they have windows. You open them up.
Yep, you could, but what if it was 20 degrees out?
Don't go with that.
What if you don't have a choice?
Oh, well, then probably just keep the windows
You're
closed.
stuck, big boy. You're stuck. So what's going to happen with the Israelis and the Hezbollah? You think they're going to?
I think they're going to. I don't know. I really don't. I think Iran is going to decide that. Iran will tell Hezbollah what to do.
I don't see why we don't go in there and just take out Iran's capabilities. I mean,
Neither
we
do
care?
I. No,
It's not going to start a World War III. The Chinese aren't going to come to their rescue or their
no,
aid.
neither
They
the
don't
Russians
care.
aren't going to come there. The Russians aren't going to do anything.
No, I mean, come on. The Chinese, they don't want Muslims taking over the world. They lock them up.
Iraq hates them.
That's true.
Saudi Arabia doesn't like them.
Oh, well, the Sunnis and the Shias have been at war with each other. Of course, the Arabs and the Persians have been at war with each other for thousands of years, long before there was Islam. So this is a natural disaffinity for each other, if you can put it that way, that's been going on for ages and ages. And you got to remember, Persia tried to take over the West too. They invaded Greece a couple of times back in the old days. And
yeah, so, I don't think we'd have much of a problem at all.
No, I don't think anybody'd do anything.
Some sternly worded statements, but
yeah, I mean, go in there, take out their radar installations, send some B-52s in. Once the radar's out, they can go in, even though they're not stealth, and drop some lead on their ass.
Yeah, well,
get rid of these factories that are making drones and making implemented explosive IEDs devices, and get rid of the rocket factories and take out their oil production, and let them go back into the Stone Age for a while and see if they can figure it out.
Yeah, we don't want to, carpet bomb Baghdad. Well, not Baghdad. What's the capital of their country over there?
No, we want some very precise strikes, but do with minimal collateral damage.
Exactly. We're not monsters. We just want you to stop it.
We want you to behave.
Yes.
The other aspect of it, Ken, is what do you do when you have a kid who's out of control?
Oh, you punish him.
You whack his ass and you put him in timeout. I mean,
that's right.
So, I mean, this is no different. It's just on a larger scale.
We just want to put Iran in timeout. That doesn't sound so bad, does it?
No, doesn't hurt my feelings.
Yeah, it seems like a no-brainer to me, but that's just me.
Well, Reagan did go in there and take out a big part of their Navy when he came into power, and Trump went in there and took out ISIS and a lot of the Iranian-backed terrorist groups. And then we got another Democrat in power, and all of a sudden it flared back up. Explain that to me, Ken. Yeah, what?
Perceived weakness. There you go.
Yes, I think so. So now the most surprising new gun owners in the United States are, guess what? They're liberals.
Wow. Well, yeah, they're not that stupid.
They're going
to protect themselves.
They're afraid of crime on the street, and they're
right.
afraid of right-wing fanatics, although I haven't seen much right-wing fanatic killing of left-wingers. Now, I've seen left-wing fanatics trying to kill right-wingers, but
yeah, it's getting to the point where everybody's going to be armed pretty soon, I think. And maybe that's the way it has to be for a while here in this country.
I guess. I mean, I think that back in the colonial days, most of the guys had a rifle or some kind of a firearm.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, what they say back in the in World War II, they say, how long would the Germans have kept it up if every Jew who they tried to put away met them with a gun?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, you got to stand up and fight back, and I think that's what Israel's doing now. And they're saying we're not going to be taken off the earth by anybody.
Exactly. So,
I made a mistake earlier. I said the mother of the attempted assassin at the golf course strapped her mother down to a chair. It was the mother of the Appalachia High School shooting suspect. You remember that kid?
Okay.
And the father I think he's going to prison too.
He is. Yes, he's in big trouble. Yeah.
So, and now she's in trouble for elder abuse.
So the whole family a little out there.
It's just really sick.
That's why everybody's getting guns, Doc. You got to protect yourself.
Yep. So now the last thing I wanted to tell you about, because we're getting close to the end of the show and it'll be a good little discussion. There's a virus that's linked to a rare paralysis illness in children. And of course, the CDC is always sending out these warnings. They got to stay in the press. But I think that this one might be of some value. It could spike in the United States, and it's from wastewater data. Now, you may think that they actually count the number of E. coli in the effluent to see if there's if there's human waste being flushed into the oceans and the lakes and all that. You know what they look for?
What do they look for?
They look for a virus that attacks peppers, and they do a count that way because pepper consumption is so ubiquitous in the world, and the virus doesn't affect humans, it only affects the peppers, and it goes right through you, that they can count the pepper viruses and determine whether or not the levels of human waste in the water are unsafe. But now they've detected a virus, an enterovirus that's a cousin of polio, and it's increasing in numbers in the wastewater. So they do check for other things, of course, but the amounts they look at are actually calculated from pepper viruses, which is fascinating.
Okay.
And there was a woman here in University of South Florida. She was on my show. God, it must be 10, 15 years ago. And that was her research. And she actually got her PhD doing that. And so she goes around the world checking for the pepper virus in effluents and to tell different countries and different jurisdictions and municipalities you need to check on where this is coming from and separate out your sewer from your wastewater. So remember that polio is an enterovirus. Entero means in your gut. So these are cousins of the polio virus, and they can cause, although it's very rare, they can cause paralysis in kids. They can cause a polio-like syndrome. So it's important to keep tabs on that. And the
Even if
problem,
you're vaccinated from polio, does it help? Does the vaccination help at all against this?
not that I know of.
No. Okay.
But don't quote me on that. There may be something out there that I don't know about. But certainly get your kid vaccinated for polio. Don't be stupid.
Yeah, that's plenty of evidence out there it works.
Oh yeah, and there's no, now that we got rid of the attenuated live vaccine, the Sabin oral, and we're gone back to the Salk injectable, which is a killed virus, there's absolutely no risk of getting polio. Now with the Sabin oral, if a kid was immunodeficient or on treatment for cancer or something like that, they could get a mild case of polio that would affect them. And so that's why we stopped using the oral virus because it was a live, weakened virus. But if your system is weak, it can still wreak havoc. Similar to why we stopped the smallpox vaccine, because there just wasn't enough smallpox around in the country to warrant it. But we were getting kids who got a disease that was similar to smallpox called vaccinia. And remember that smallpox vaccine is not actually human smallpox. It's probably a camel or a cowpox virus that has been passed for centuries and centuries and has morphed into this virus that is not systemic in the 99% of us, but it does stimulate a good immune response that will fight off the real smallpox.
1 minute, Doc. We're down to the final minute, buddy. Good show. Enjoyed this.
Dang, dude. Where did the time go?
I don't know.
So I want to tell you, we did go to New Orleans and we did go to the World War II Museum. And if you can see behind me, there's a B-17.
Yep.
It is a cool museum. If you like military stuff, if you like the history of World War II, go to New Orleans and go to the World War II Museum. That's a national museum, Ken.
I know. I've been there. Great.
It is something to see. Now, that's the kind of plane my Uncle Jack was shot down in and died over the North Sea. So
Higgins boats, everything. Wow. Great place to be.
So that's for Uncle Jack. By the way, I am Dr. Bill. I'm at 727-384-6411, 727-384-6411. We have a full service office with telemedicine. We've got ultrasound. We got
Bye, Doc.
Bye.
All right. Hello to Jeffrey. You there, Jeffrey boy? And I don't hear Jeff, so we'll see what's happening with the news.
WGUL, a W229DJ Dunedin, powered by